Your host, Stephanie Henderson. You are live here in the virtual Books and Bounty TV She Suite. We are here at my desk tonight instead of at the cozy book nook. And first, before we get into part two, a little bit of business. I want to give a special shout out to some of my partners, Donnie Glover, BeMoreNews.com. I'll give you a brief moment, about 30 seconds, 45 seconds or so. Take your time. Let's do it together. I want you to go on over to BeMoreNews.com. You'll see a little bit something different here because I have admin access. I'm the associate publisher, and I want you to look for the subscribe button. Oh, it's because I'm signed in. It's not going to pop up for me. Let me see if I go under my other name. But what I want you to do is sign up for the newsletter when you get there. You go ahead and hit that subscribe button and you sign up for the newsletter. What you'll get, not only will you be able to get Be More News information, all of the interesting deep dive, the news that goes unreported, especially around Baltimore politics, not just Baltimore, but Maryland and beyond, Baltimore metropolitan DC area politics, Black economics and finance. Donnie Glover and BeMoreNews.com is the place to be when it comes to uh, Black news in the Baltimore metropolitan region. Books and Bounty TV is syndicated and posted on BeMoreNews.com. It's posted on the Black USA News Network through BeMoreNews.com. I also will be posting some book reviews as well as some exclusive content just for the BeMoreNews.com newsletter. So make sure you go ahead and sign up. Speaking of content, before we jump into part two, I want to remind you that Books and Bounty offers editorial production and content development services. You can hop on over to booksandbounty.com. You can also subscribe. Of course, it says I'm subscribed, but you can subscribe so that you don't miss any Books and Bounty posts, information, and happenings from our growing bookish community of people, places, and things. You can get information about our editorial services. I have a presentation here about some of the subscription packages we offer where you can, let's see, so a little bit about what we do: consultation, ghostwriting, and content development. We specialize in literary fiction, short story, poetry, as well as science, dark, and speculative fiction. I also specialize in nonfiction, specifically around history, self-help, and nonprofit communications. Um, we also offer editorial production. This is traditional services such as copy editing, copywriting, sponsorship, sponsored content writing, proofreading, fact checking, and all of the above. We also offer light audio and visual production for folks who are trying to stand up things, streaming shows, podcasts, on the go live streaming. We can consult and help you and implement that. If you want to become a monthly subscriber for ad services, just want your ads posted and do some promo with Books and Bounty on booksandbounty.com, as well as here, you could have your ad in a banner marquee scrolling at the top of the screen that you're looking at now, or in our live slideshow that is over in the top corner of your screen. Your business could be featured there. Let's put them in here. We also offer quarterly subscription packages. This is the full Monty and the top tier of services that we offer here in Books and Bounty. This is really recommended for publishers, self-publishing authors, or authors looking to get their manuscripts up to par and ready for proposal and submission.
self-publishing authors, independent publishers who need an extra hand, writers collectives who would like to, who are working on anthologies and works together, as well as small businesses and small content management teams who will need editorial production services on an ongoing basis. These packages include promotion on booksandbounty.com platforms, as well as the ultimate tier. If you become a tome tender, you also get engagement in the book milk as well.
So check out booksandbounty.com for more information about our editorial production and development services. You could get a couple samples of what it looked like to me if you sponsor a book review. So far, all of the book reviews on my social media platforms and booksandbounty.com are not sponsored. They are either books that were sent to me, books that I've read and wanted to put the book review up and decided to put it up. Um, but none of the special guests that you see on booksandbounty.com on the TV show will ever be sponsored guests. Those are always by way of me building my own bookish community, of you guys reaching out to me, of people who should be on um, the the this show, interesting authors that I've read, people that I want to meet. But if you are interested in sponsoring book reviews or getting sponsored content written for your platform and websites, let me know. You can reach out to me, Steph at booksandbounty.com. What I wanted to remind you guys about tonight, up online are the highlights from last week's episode with author Tessa Stone. This on me. You can see my full interview with her. It was a great conversation about what it means to be a writer, a mom, and a rising star in the romance industry. Tessa was offline, but off camera, I mean, as you can see here. But we had a great conversation. Hearing her, what the tools she used to get rapidly started in the writing industry, I think will really help some of the self-publishing authors out there when it comes to different tools in your toolbox, like having a story Bible, creating a backlist, understanding your market and doing market research, things that I can help you with, as well as building a network and bookish community around your work and understanding other authors. She gave some great book recommendations, all of which you can read my full review. Tessa has 4 leaves. It means that it was a really fun read or really inspiring read. I gave Tessa the benefit of the doubt being a new self publishing author. However, do expect some of those idiosyncrasies or small even errors in typography, etc., to show up as you're reading, but luckily they're not distracting and they are far and few in between. So check out my full review. You can check out the show. Post it now to booksandbounty.com. It's also available on YouTube and Twitch. Okay, part 2. So we just got finished looking at, let me check in before I get into part 2 properly. Let me check in with the chat. Let's see who's here. All right, Nick's thanks for joining. Joanna, John Gilly, 13, thank you for joining on TikTok. This is the first time we are actually streaming the Books and Bounty TV show on TikTok. We usually only stream live to Twitch. The reason why we are streaming live to TikTok tonight is because we reached 300 followers on TikTok. Thank you so much, guys. I want to say, I'm really, really, really grateful. I have met some awesome people through Book Talk. It's been fun. The controversies on BookTok are amazing. Some of them are unexpected. The community has been so supportive through this last election. Reading is political. I love it. Keep it up. And I just want to give you a sincere thanks. That being said, if you are watching me on TikTok right now, make sure, take a moment, go on over to Twitch, follow me on Twitch, and join our Bookish Brigade Discord, the Books and Bounty Discord. If you are a follower on Twitch and you join the Bookish Brigade Discord, you are automatically entered to win any of the Books and Bounty giveaways. The Discord is a little quiet right now. You'll just be getting announcements about when we go live every once in a while. I'll post links to when we have book reviews. But we want to be able to soon stand up a call-in experience, so that if you're in the Bookish Brigade, um, and join now, because once we start actively getting authors and engaging in our call-in experience, that will most likely be an exclusive subscription experience. So get in early right now, join the Bookish Brigade, follow us on Twitch, and enter to win those giveaways. Our last giveaway winner, shout out to DDrizzle18. We actually have to DDrizzle, come to find out that he is a local viewer, a fairly local viewer. So we need to meet up. I actually want to meet up with him to give his set of Tomi Adeyemi's Legend of Orisha series. So he will be the proud new owner of Children of Blood and Bone, Children of Virtue and Vengeance, and Children of Anguish and Anarchy. Y'all, I have not finished reading book 3 yet. I haven't started it yet. I'm going to get there soon. Tomi just announced. You go visit her, Tomi.idma, on TikTok and elsewhere. Megan Wilson, thanks for joining. Tomi just announced that Children of Blood and Bone is finally casting. If you go to her page, I think you have to submit a monologue and headshot, but there's more details on her page. If you don't know already, Paramount picked up the rights to Children of Blood and Bone back in 2022, and they just started casting. I'm really excited about that. Cannot wait. And that book Children of Blood and Bone really got me back into my bookish reading spirit. The first book is more about the journey and the transformation you go into when stepping into something new, and something that can seem like a mountain that you have to climb. That's really what I felt at the beginning, coming off of a layoff and then starting Books and Bounty. So, uh, fun things ahead. Kudos to Tomi and all the big things that she's doing. So we just were in part 1. We just talked to Jaleesa Whitley of Book Trips. You are now viewing the blog of booktrips.com. Make sure you go ahead and sign up for Jaleesa's newsletter if you want to get ahead on what's upcoming, the upcoming excursions and experiences. Lions Pride is still in the building. Lions Pride Studios. He is also a creator on Twitch, so make sure you guys go follow him. Hey. Cypher Robinson is also a Twitch follower, and is usually joins some of the chat on Twitch. I'm actually going to be a beta reader for Cypher Robinson, so I'm excited to look at some of their work. Who's just joined? Carlos Alberto Hara 78. Thank you for joining. Right now, we are looking at our special guest Jaleesa Whitley's website. We just finished talking to her. This blog experience, the blog right now, the most recent post is about their most recent journey to Ghana, which was inspired by Yaa Gyasi's homegoing. And so you can take a look at some of the experiences as Jaleesa let us know. They start each journey with a dinner. As you can see, it's a very intimate group. There are only 12 spots per group. Look at that. Doesn't that look wonderful? You can watch some of the videos here. Let's just look at one real quick. Do I have my desktop audio up? Let's look at this one. want to go. Make sure you guys are. Said it was woman centered.
Really, only people who are from here can share their own stories and their own history. So I'm excited to learn about the art and the culture. I'm an artist myself, so I want to see some art. I want to see some dances. The cultural performances we had earlier today was such a treat. So I'm excited to just have fun and enjoy the love that Ghana has to offer.
All right, so that gives you a little bit of taste of what it's like to join Jaleesa on one of her awesome, immersive, women-centered, book-inspired experiences with booked trips. So check out booktrips.com and make sure you sign up for the newsletter so you don't miss out on any upcoming trips and excursions. All right, now first things first, what I want to get into is a my review of Tim Fielder's Infinitum. We're going to talk a little bit about this and what I've learned about graphic novels as well, and then we're going to get into some book hauls from the weekend. So let me just stack that back. All right. I'm going to bring this back up because so Infinitum is an Afrofuturistic tale. It spans from ancient African times all the way to the end of time and back again. And it is a tale of an ancient African king set in West Africa who rides. To get this, I will talk about this, but this when I turned the page and saw this, I said, "Is the king riding giant Rottweilers into the storm, into the battle, like a sphinx?" I said, "Oh, we don't have sphinxes. We have giant dogs as the statues and pyramids." It anyway. The OG futurist himself, Tim Fielder, with my love of science fiction, which I actually did not get into until probably I would say maybe 10 years ago or so. It's unfortunate that I'm only finding his work now. This is his website. As you can see, Infinitum is featured. This was published by, excuse me, I don't have my water up here with me to help with my parched throat. So this is copyright Diesel Funk Studios. Tim founded Diesel Funk Studios. That's his publication and studio company. And this was published in 2021. So I want you to scroll through here. Now, what you're seeing on here, the screen, the artwork, is gorgeous, right? But the book itself, the art, the battle of shadow and light that is not only within the main character King Oba himself, but the battle of shadow and light physically on the page, uh, the artist's stroke is amazing. And first, let's read a little bit about the story. So, a warrior king cursed with immortality a lover doomed to lose everything, a pioneer exploring the farthest reaches of space, a warrior. That is what you're going to get when you read Infinitum. So, from Harper's Column, published with Harper's Column, copyrighted through Diesel Folk Studios. Uh, it's definitely as they say here, a treasured collectible, a gorgeous, groundbreaking, full color Afrofuturistic graphic novel that captures the spirit of the record breaking film Black Panther and its mantra, Wakanda Forever. Afrofuturism, a cultural movement that began in the early 20th century as an escape from racial hostility, economic turmoil, and aggressive policing in black communities, is enjoying a renaissance witnessed by the record breaking success of creative projects like this one, as well as if you think of about Janelle Monáe's hit album Dirty Computer, Jordan Peele's movie, especially Get Out, and of course, Octavia Butler's famous works of literature. So, and I didn't even think about this because Janelle Monáe is one of my favorites. Dirty Computer is not everyone's taste, but it is mine. And yes, that is a work of Afrofuturism. Shout out to Janelle Monáe, another bookish person that I would get Janelle Monáe on the show, honey. So we're here to talk about graphic novels, and I'm here to talk about my review of Infinitum. So I just want you guys, while I start talking, I'm going to share a few things that I've learned about the graphic novel. But first, I want to get right into my initial review. So I don't have anything official up yet. I'll probably be posting, writing this tomorrow and getting it up on Books and Bounty. But you guys know I journal when I read, so I have my handy dandy reading journal here with me. And I wanted to just go through this with you and some of the things that stood out to me. So this is King Oba and his queen, and it starts with their love story. But like with many kings and powerful men in the world, the queen is not his only interest. And it just so happens that the Queen Leela um, cannot give the king a child. So what he does is that he goes to his mistress, who is concubine, Aja, King Aja. I don't know. I have to ask Tim how he's going to pronounce this because in West African Adinkra symbolism, Aja um, can mean a few different things. It can be the Adinka symbol of the fern, which is actually my teenager's middle name, but it'll also mean a girl born on a Friday, pronounced Aya in other places, etc. So I have to ask him what he means with the king named, um, with the king's name. But his concubine, Oberon, is a very powerful witch. And when he comes to take her child, she curses him with immortality. So, and as King Oba, who then goes by many names. One of them is John, who's a name that sticks with him. Travels among time. He finds that as he gets older, he finds that his loved ones are aging and he is not. Right? So time goes on, hundreds of years pass. We meet many different lovers of King Oba throughout history. We have a moment where he reconciles with his immortality, and is sort of lost in it. And that's when we've talked about this before, about characters, especially black characters who are immortal yet succumb, or either I wouldn't even say succumb. I guess it's in a way give up, but they how they deal with the oppressions of being black and immortal. We look at that, and through these years, Tim is able to really take a look at a lot of themes around human nature, around human tragedy, as well as love and black love, versus traditional love, as well as queer love, is explored in this book. And it one of the main scenes towards the end of the book, where the king asks himself, is all of the things that he's been through,
the lifetimes of both love and tragedy that he's faced, because I think ultimately this is a tragic tale, but one that may give you one piece of spark of hope at the end. Um, but the story of the king himself is ultimately, I think, a tragic tale in the very traditional literary sense of the word. So we're traveling through John throughout the centuries, millennia of time, and it even gets to the point where John himself basically becomes one with the earth. We are past the point of nothingness, and throughout this time, John, he goes with this notion: Am I being tortured, or is this an accounting for? Right? Am I being punished, or am I there's and he says, am I a god? And I'm like, but he is ultimately the man. You know what I mean? Like in the sense of we know what it means being the man. He the man. He the man. But also the man. Like he is a symbol of all the complexities of not only what it means to be a black man, but also what it means to be human. And one of the things that I really liked about of course, this is a graphic novel. We have to talk about the artwork. I'll have to ask Tim more about his medium, and that, and his processes for his art. But what I immediately noticed, and I'll go back to like just this is the beginning pages of my reading journal, right? And one of the first things I noticed about some of the things like Black people deserve to see themselves fully rendered in visual narratives with big themes. That's something that Tim said in his introduction, and that's really what he was on a mission to do, and he accomplished that. We are in full color, fully rendered, big theme narratives. And one thing that I learned about graphic novels is that they allow the writer, the creator, the artist, and the reader to unpack complex issues um, in a way that they can sit back and digest. You don't have to, like, you're not reading, going on to the next line. There's a page in the book. You have to sit there. You have to look at it. You have to think about what it means, about the choices in the color, the details that you missed the first time around. What's that in the shadow? And speaking of shadow and light, that was one of the main things that I noticed about the artwork. And not just the artwork, about the themes that John himself, for all of his qualities that will, save him, there are just as many bad qualities that make you quite disgusted with him. The way he, is basically a womanizer, lover, and a charmer. His ability to cast aside those relationships if he needs to, but also just because of the nature of his immortality, the need to, right? So I'm going to show you some various examples of what I mean about the play of light and dark. So I'll show you a few examples throughout the novel. We're at the beginning. We're literally at the beginning of time, dawn, right? And so he lets you know from first page that we are dealing with light and dark, the battle between us, yin and yang. But Mona, thanks for joining. Tim immediately lets us know what we're working with here. This is the first 2 pages. And then the next page is talking about the birth of the universe came and went. There was light. And then there was light, right? But then as the story progresses,
I I'm starting to think about all the things that I've learned about graphic novels and what it means to be a graphic novelist, and taking account to actual physical structure of the book, right? This is a coffee table-esque style, right? Landscape versus portrait. One of the key things you'll notice about graphic novels versus comic books, graphic novels come in all different sizes. Comic books are pretty much a standard size. Um, so some of the first things I noticed, the physical light and shadow, the weight of the page, this is a glossy page. So the actual feel of the page, I kept finding myself with this is I wanted to actually feel it. I wanted to actually touch the every time I turned a page, I would like run my fingers over it. And then the actual weight of the page and texture, right? This is a heavy book. The themes in this story are heavy. And so the physical nature of the book itself, the artistry, it all ties back to that theme of light and dark. And when I get into occultist later, when I talk about the creator's choice or the publishers, would have to think about who helped him make these choices. If it was just all him, but the choices in the page weight, the choice in whether it's glossy or matte, um, the again the type of page, the physical nature of the book itself, those are all qualities that as a graphic novel are thought about in a very meticulous and scientific way. So for those who are self-publishing, WJ88, thank you for joining. Those who are thinking about self-publishing graphic novels, these are the things that you have to think about, right? What is the size of the book? Is it going to be black and white in color? Depending on the type of medium you use, that may matter. The feel of the book. This is a glossy feel to it. So those are the type of things I kept in mind as I was reading, and we'll take a look at, compare some of the differences between this and occultist later in the show. So as I keep reading, again, we're just giving some of my first review and impressions of Tim Fielder's Infinitum, the Afrofuturist tale. And I like to give you guys some of my first reactions from my reading journal. Like I'm all things I'm saying stuff like hold up. I'm writing down things that struggle between gender equality, strength, and power. Um, and I like the way the characters are introduced. One of the things, again, that I notice about the difference between comic books and graphic novels, for those who are wondering out there, is that graphic novels give the story more room to breathe and that there's more character building done intently, more so like a novel than you would get in a comic book where characters can be built over time, but it can often feel very disjointed. So the characters in this story are introduced in more of like an RPG manual type style. You'll get the character and the description from different perspectives from the king and from their perspective. We usually get the king's perspective, and then we get their lover, whoever is the lover, the king's lover or mate in the time that he is in. We'll get their story. Oftentimes, the mate does not make it to the next couple of pages, but you'll see why. As part of his curse. You'll see why as you get into it. One thing that I like about the graphic novels that's different from traditional novels that I really enjoyed is the font and character play. I'm not character, the text play on the page. So using that to really, again, because you don't have a lot of words, using that to trigger signify to the reader different emotions, actions, whether it's dialogue, whether it's said in a loving tone versus one that not or angry. And then there are times where I, you know, where that use of different fonts and text can be a bit distracting, I'll show you how. For example, on this page, everything is in that style of text that seems very Old Englishy. Serifs are very big and long, but there's a full block paragraph text of it, right? You guys can see that. And on with white text on a darker page, that was a bit difficult to read. But the story itself and the way it read, I kept going back to it. Of course, I read this in less than a day, but my journal pages, like the amount that it took up in my reading journal was just as much as it did would in a novel. So, um, I was writing, my hands started hurting, but I highly recommend, especially if you are a Black science fiction lover like me. Um, I want you to first head over to dieselfunk.com, timfielder.com, learn some about Tim Fielder, his history as an artist, his impact on the culture. He's an OG Afrofuturist. If you don't know about him, you should, because even if you just are a traditional reader, you like novels. I don't really do graphic novels, Stephanie. You are missing out, okay? Um, and then I have some exciting news. Tim Fielder is going to be on Books and Bounty TV next week. Excited. So excited. So yes, for all those folks out there who do know about the OG Afrofuturist himself, Tim Fielder, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your blurs that Tim Fielder will be in the Books and Bounty TV virtual studio next Tuesday night, November November 19th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shout out to Tim. I reached out to him via Instagram. I said, hey, I love your work. I just found it as part of, the work I'm doing for Books and Bounty. I would love to be on your show. No hesitation, and he's accepted the invite, guys. I'm so excited. We'll be putting some posts up soon about him being on the show next Tuesday. So if you have special questions for him, if there's anything you wanted to learn about his work, his life, he has a twin, and the twin actually, he has let me not diminish the twin here, author, wrote the afterword for Tim, and it is really fun. It's funny, but it's really insightful. It lets you know, it really lets you get a little bit more of the personality and why Tim uh, does the work he does today, and more about how you can see how the story, the influence um, of Tim's worldview, how that made it into Infinitum. So that's just a bit of preview. Oh, wait, and there's one thing I really, really wanted to highlight. So as I, again, light and shadow, um, the emotion that he draws on these character faces. Let me see if I can get a good one. Where was one? I didn't put the tabs in here. I'm not, I write my, yeah, and that's another thing. This doesn't have page numbers. I don't usually do book tabs. When I journal, I just write the page number down that I'm referencing. And many graphic novels that I've noticed don't have page numbers. So I may have to use some sticky tabs. There is a particular scene. There's a few of them. Give me a moment. I'm going to find it. There's a particular scene. Let me see if I can where I wrote it. Something was just started love and heartbreak. With Ajejo's curse was a forced concubine. Is that implied by definition? Um, the women are drawn just as fiercely as the men. They are striking and intimidating. So this must have been towards the beginning. Yeah, this must. Yes, I think it was when he took Oberyn's child from her. So first, beginning, I told you how he comes in, this warlord king, riding ancient giant Rottweilers. You can't tell me that's not a Rottweiler. Look at that. There's a chain around his neck. So that's it. He's got pennies. He's got bully dogs. Right from then, I said, "Oh, I can't wait to read more." But look at the expressions. Look at that. That come riding through. I'm running the other way. You understand? And when I mean he draws the women just as striking and fierce, this is Oberyn. This is the concubine. This is when she curses him. Look at that. And then I want to get to a point where I had written down. So he's going through times, and I tell you, we unpack a lot of things. Again, one good thing about graphic novels is that you get to deal with really complex issues. Um, in an accessible way. So again, dealing with complex issues in an accessible way. So I started talking about, let's see, there's vengeful, righteous aliens in this book. I'm talking about climate change, how how Tim uses time to capture human ills and triumphs, love and sanctity, and a strikingly dark struggle of shadow and light, right? So I said that a strikingly dark struggle of shadow and light. Where did I put that? Because, all right, onslaught of addictive content. I know where this is. So he's making, there's commentary about, look at this, King Oba. Again, many, many lifetimes. That was one of his lovers, Jason. There's a point where King Oba comes back and like, we're all basically like, we get now doped up doom scrolling, zombies in front of screens, and I think I wrote about it right after. No, this is old. That's old. That's old. Where is it? Multiple times, us humans, we F up. The earth is destroyed, it comes back. It's destroyed, it comes back, right? John rescues us. At one point, he gives up hope, as I think we all would, although we don't want to. Was that it? So again, this is one of the climaxes where it's the battle of the alien. Again, the struggle between light and dark, right? The balance. Okay, so here we're at a point where it must be soon. So he's talking about augmented reality had become reality to the populace. The onslaught of addictive content, geocosmopolitics, cyborg sports, virtual housewives, mutant porn, home break-ins, surgery game shows, The Simpsons, brought families and communities together in a perpetual digital stupor. Simpsons. Why The Simpsons? And so it must be. Is that it? Okay, so yes. So here we go. We're talking about a mighty flood that swallowed up the earth. Over the centuries, earth took casualties in the billions. So we're on this page. And I get the inspiration to write this note about, again, about this strikingly dark struggle between light and dark. We're at this point where humans are being bombarded by an alien force that is and Oba has given up. So King Oba has given up. So he is he's not the world's superhero, and they are being attacked without any defense. Um, and then centuries have passed, and over centuries, Earth took casualties in the billions. So King Oba said, "Look, I'm tired of being immortal. I'm tired of rescuing y'all every time y'all f up. I'm going to be it." Basically, he said, "I'm going to be it. I'm tired." Well, how black women feel right now with this election. I'm tired. I'm tired of rescuing y'all. Okay, I don't. We're not doing the work right now. We're not right now. Not today. And that's how he felt. And I hope it doesn't. I hope it's not a premonition of us taking a break. What's going to America? Anyway, so right when I was reading that, I said, again, the struggle between light and dark. And look at the next page. A voice, fate, kismet, whatever you want to call it, shouts Oba's name from the void, right? And it really is just shadow play on page. And I love it. It really is. And then again, like he is being reborn. I really enjoyed this book. Hi, Kayla. Thanks for joining. I really enjoyed this book. Again, this is Infinitum by Tim Fielder. Make sure you check that out. Stop by your local comic book shop, indie bookseller, library, ask them to get it. And make sure you read Infinitum by Tim Fielder. If you did not hear me just a moment ago, Tim Fielder will be live on Books and Bounty next Tuesday night, the 19th at 10 p.m. Tim, if you're out there listening, can't wait for our conversation. I'm really, really excited about it. All right. So before we get into the book haul, I just want to take a moment since we are talking about uh, Tim Fielder right now. I wanted to just briefly show you some differences, and as I do that, I'm going to hide this and pull up something I was working on to help keep my mind straight. I was working on this earlier, and that is a sort of Venn diagram on the differences between a graphic novel and a comic book. So let's go through this a bit. We just took a look at Tim Fielder's Infinitum, so keep that in mind as we look through these, right? So what do they have in common? They both use a little bit of prose, some narrative, and they have heavy dialogue, right? Heavy dialogue leans on them, especially in comic books. Actually, that note I wanted to change around. I didn't before the show. Both of them have various genres. A graphic novel is not a genre. It is a format. Is it a structure? It's a type of book, right? But even though graphic novels are lean toward fantasy and science fiction. They are nonfiction. They have historical fiction. They have various genres, and comics books do as well. Comic books tend to be more action oriented. We think traditionally when we think of comic books, we think about the superhero stories. That's not all there is to comic books, and what types of stories they have to offer as well. They both tend to capture a diverse reading audience. This is primarily because graphic novels and comic books are accessible, not just because of the actual physical nature of, being able to read, uh, but also because it allows you, um, as a reader, as a viewer, to engage with oftentimes comic books, especially graphic novels, deal with complex subjects. They commentary on current events and uh, conflict and human engagement that is often hard to unpack, cannot be unpacked efficiently necessarily in a novel at all given time at given times. And Another thing is that what I've learned in some of my research about graphic novels and comic books, because of the visual nature of the book, that it is more likely that children and young people will learn empathy from the stories that they tell. Um, the characters in the books often focus on marginalized communities, and characters. The writers and creators within the community are very close knit, and I find very welcoming as well. Just like in the broader bookish community. Some of the main difference between comics and graphic novels. So a comic book is it's the traditional saddle stitch, stapled, thin, lightweight paper sort of structure. The actual size of a comic book is pretty standard, whereas a graphic novel can be bound in hardback or trade paperback. It has a thicker spine, and it can be various sizes. So as you can see here, these are all graphic novels. Do you see the difference? And these are all graphic novels, but you can see the differences, right? So, and then, um, although they're both told in panels and strips, graphic novels often have single full page panels or none at all, and they can bleed off the page, even though it didn't look like it because of the artwork. Here's a better way you can see it. It actually is shown in panel. It's just single panels per page. Excuse me. And then if we're comparing it with occultus, you can see here, show a good one. Again, you have panels. She has singles, and she also uses traditional panel strips. But then there are a few, um, there's a black and white story in here. This is actually a short story. Technically, I would say it's a short story collection. Um, because or parts or chapters. Well, once I get into it, I'll have to tell you what I think about that a bit more. But you can see here, Laura also just does full page spreads. Whereas the comic book, you're going to have panel strips um, to tell that story. So a comic book is a serialized periodical with a story that spans over multiple publications, similar to like a soap opera or something like that, where the characters can come and go. You might not get the beginning, middle, and end until months and years later, whereas a graphic novel is one contained arc where you get a firm beginning, middle, and end. And it reads more like a novel. That being said, that there's more room for character development in a graphic novel versus a comic strip. Manga is a form of graphic novel. If you think of cartoons to anime, it's the same way with graphic novel to manga. And then, as I said earlier, and as illustrated with Tim Fielder's Infinitum, that graphic novels often addresses complex or difficult themes and concepts. Now, a little bit of fun. Right now, first, again, a reminder, check out booksandbounty.com. Make sure you're following me if you're watching tonight on Twitch. This is a special edition of Books and Bounty Live, Books and Bounty TV live stream, where we usually only exclusively do our Tuesday night shows on Twitch. Tonight, we are going live on Twitch and TikTok because we now have over 300 followers on TikTok. Woo! I need like a sound maker or something like that. But I'm so excited. The book talk community has been welcoming with open arms. I've been making some great friends. So thank you so much again for 300 followers on TikTok. I think we're over 250 on Instagram right now. We're just 2 months into this book and bounty, building our bookish brigade. So thank you so. So first up is the Bel Air. I thought I already had that. Here we go. So Bel Air Edison, the Bel Air Edison Neighborhood Incorporated had a book fair last week. Benny's Youth Book Fair Extravaganza. First, I'm going to apologize. There were, you get 2 free books. I got a stack. I thought they were just going to charge me for the rest of the books, and they didn't. And I got free cocoa. So I owe them a donation. Y'all go donate Bella Addison Neighborhood Incorporated because I got a whole stack of books. Just and but this is where I stopped by here. I unfortunately I did not get to meet some of the guest speakers, but hopefully they will do this again. So make sure you guys support this great neighborhood nonprofit that is doing such wonderful services for the community. This was actually on the 4500 lot on Harford Road. It's a great facility if you need event space. You can check out Hamilton, Louisville Main Street on Instagram and elsewhere to help rent that lot. But let's see some of the books I got from the book fair. First, I got The Quickest Kid in Clarksville by Pat Zeitlo Miller. Pat Zeitlo Miller, illustrated by Frank Morrison. Frank Morrison is a Black illustrator that I've actually been following for years. Did not know about this book. The reason I got it is because my bonus boy, my fellow son, he is 7, and he believes that he's the quickest kid in his classroom. And so this is about the quickest kid in Clarksville. So I got this for us to read together. Let's see. And then I spotted some classics. So Mark Twain's best short stories. This is which edition is this? I don't know. I didn't look into this one. I really can't tell which edition this is. No. It's from 1962. With the yellow on the page, it may be. So I got a Mark Twain sign. I got a really, really classic looking version of The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. Let me see if you guys can do this. Oh, there you go. You guys see that? Which edition is this? So many. Ooh, I didn't even see that inside cover. HarperCollins, children's books. This one is from 2009. I talked about this earlier. I spotted some books by one of my favorite. I mean, if you want to put the top 5, he's number 2, Toni Morrison's number 1, and that's Roald Dahl. Don't be surprised. When I was 7 or 8, I read Matilda and was immediately captivated. I told myself at that young age, if I can make someone feel that way just by the words that I wrote on a page, then that's what I wanted to do. And then from that day, I said, I'm going to be a writer. I learned as you get exposed to different things later in life that I, don't necessarily need a byline. I really enjoy behind the scenes. I like watching a manuscript turn from pages on the, in a book, in a journal, or typed manuscript into a coveted item that is informing or entertaining. Um, but Roald Dahl was that first spark for me. So I found some editions of his books, James and the Giant Peach and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And I think, okay, so no, this is not from my edition because I'm looking at the cover on the back. It's not my Matilda cover. I can show you mine. It is bad. Y'all gonna be it is not well kept. It is well loved. So I think now I have like 10 or 12 Roald Dahl books in my collection. Like I said, it is not well kept, but it is well loved. This is the Puffin Books edition with illustrations from Quentin Blake, published in like, this is a 1990 version. No, this is later than that. No, it's a 1990 version, I think. So this came out. So this was published posthumously. I have to do more research on this, on Matilda, and it's funny I haven't already. I have to do more research on it because when I first read Matilda, I was so inspired that I wrote Mr. Dahl a letter, not realizing that he had died only a few years actually before I was born. So that inspiration has kept with me. I go back to this book time and time again. I reread it every 5 years or so. Like I said, not that well kept, but well loved. I probably should get me a different version to actually read when I want to turn back to it. Okay, so that was a haul from Bella Edison's Benny's youth book. Benny's book extravaganza. Make this a little smaller. All right, next up, we will do Snug Books. I don't think I ever I think I brought up the website for Snug Books a little bit last time because that's where I got Occultist from. But Snug Books is actually located in the Hamilton, Laurelville Main Street, up on Harford Road. It is a awesome, cozy little bookstore. The folks that work there are really well informed. They give great recommendations based on what you really like. They really listen to what you like to read. I've been a patron of Snug Books since they opened up a few years ago, and I'm probably there at least once a month. Maybe more now that with Books and Bounty. So the haul from there, what do we get? We got a few of them. We got, shout out to Katie and Emmanuel, Snug Book owners, and also Rick, who often is the person who has to deal with me in the store, walking him around the shelves, as well as helping me via Instagram when I see something and need them to hold a book for me. So this one, A Sunny Place for Shady People, this is actually on the Books and Bounty October Reads and Rec list. This was recommended. Let's do our so slow scroll here. This was recommended by Anna Akpan, the Black Girls Horror Guide. We live streamed from that first club meeting last month. Emma was also a special guest last month and gave us a great plethora of spooky reads for the month of October. That full list is on booksandbounty.com. So I had to pick up one of those from the list. Mariana Enriquez is a really awesome writer, short story writer of dark fiction. And I discovered her through her book, The Things We Lost in the Fire. So, Mariana Enriquez, check her out. Then, because of course I wasn't there to get much, but I saw, as you all know, I am a huge fan of Octavia Butler, but I have not read all of Octavia Butler. I have not read Octavia Butler's earliest series, which is the Patternist series. My favorite series from her is the Exogenesis series, also known as Lilith's Broad, which is the omnibus edition. I have that edition. That includes Dawn, Adulthood Rights, and Imago. Again, the Exogenesis series. Wild. Uh, but I had not read some of her earliest work, which includes the Patternist series. The Patternist series starts with Wild Seed, and I also was able, since it was there, got the second book in the series, which is Mind of My Mind. So again, Octavia Butler she will come up every so often on Books and Bounty. So do a slow scroll. This is Wild Seed by Octavia Butler and Mind of My Mind. This is from the Patternist series. I don't even know when I'm going to be able to get into those. So I'm not making any promises of when those are going to get read or reviewed, but they're there. They're going on the TBR shelf. I'm going to get to them. All right. What's next? Oh, I forgot. The mini-me, my teenager, came up right before the show started and said, "Hey, Ma, I had a recommendation for you today. It's a manga style, but it's not a manga itself, I don't think. It's a graphic novel by Joe Kelly and Ken Nimura. Could be anime. Excuse me, it could be manga. But this was recommended by Jay. It's called I Kill Giants. So we can put that in the November TBR stack as well. So far, we have 4 titles from Image Studios, Image Comics. So shout out to them for having, amplifying diverse voices and stories. Shout out to them. So that's Snug Book, the haul from Snug Books. And last but not least, this is in a little studio boutique, house turned into boutique. Lovely, lovely little curated bookish boutique right behind Snug Books on Rose Kemp off of Rose Kemp and Harford Road. I have been wanting to go into this store. I look past it. They have the funniest little signs outside. And I just knew it was going to be a Steffi kind of place when I went in there. And I wasn't right. I wasn't wrong. I was not disappointed. So what we're going to do today, we're going to go a little bit through what we found there. You could take a look at the different things that are offered. I was able to meet Amanda while I was there. She has a wonderfully sweet soul and spirit about her. Um, Smiles all the time. And I'm trying to zoom in here, but look at this. Look at this. Everything that you see here is for sale. So let's look at our bag and see what we got from the House Handcrafted. You can follow the House Handcrafted on Instagram. So let's find. So you can follow Amanda and the House Handcrafted on Instagram. And let's see what we got. One of the things that I really loved was that there are tons of handcrafted journals there. I don't want to mess up the bag. And so I was able to pick up a small notebook. It reminded me of the Books and Bounty logo. For you guys who are looking at the Books and Bounty logo on screen, it's a well-read, a well-loved book with an overlay of Maryland native grasses. And so this just reminded me of that. I thought that would be a notebook to keep in my bag. Because as I tell everyone, If it does not get written down, it does not get done. So, all right, let's see what else we have. Just some cute, this little thank you notes and information about. We feature locally made art, one-of-a-kind gifts, inspired ideas, and magical finds from all over. So what do we have? We have some information about the holidays on Harford Road and some events that are coming up. Let's see, they have a hot cocoa crawl on November 16th. And then November 16th through the December 7th, they have a shop early promotion, small business Saturdays coming up. We'll be having some deals on Books and Bounty subscription and advertising promotions coming up. Actually, right now, if you sign, you get a really significant discount if you sign any contract before the 15th. It's a couple days away from now. Contact me, Steph at Books and Bounty, if you need some work done. But we'll be having our next special for the final 2 weeks in November for Small Business Saturday, buy local, buy indie. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see. So the House Handcrafted is described as a waste-reducing art studio, bookbindery, and magical oddity shop. If that does not scream bookish place and things, I don't know what else it does. Let's see here. Hamilton Marville Restaurant and Retail Guide. A cute thank you note. What's I had all this stuff in it. Business card for Bitchin' Glassworks. Upcycled and vintage, one-of-a-kind, inspired by nature's stained glass art. Instagram at Bitchin' Glassworks. Now I'm curious. Let's not get distracted, shall we, people? We'll keep focused. Paul, what did we get? Okay, so we got some stickers, one of which my teenager already has. Got some stickers. I love stickers. I love stickers. I love button pins. I have a collection of stickers, button pins, and cute little note cards. I always thought that I would own a stationery store. Still could happen. And last but not least, mystery book. I love mystery books. They're so much fun. So let's see what this one. I don't know if this is a popular book. I don't know if it's a self-published author. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a self-publishing author, considering the type of products that are available at the House Handcrafted. So Amanda, let's see what we have here. And this is completely Bond mystery. It's not like mystery in the book. It's not like I knew what genre it is. There was no synopsis. It really is a pile of books for $5 and $10 that you can pick out of a basket, and you get what you get. So let's see what we have here. I want you guys to be able to pick up the. All right. And then let's see. Oh, look, some creativity prompts for while you're reading. See, this is awesome. So, this is William Faulkner's Sanctuary. I have not read this yet. It looks like this is a lightly used book. William Faulkner, as you know, is a famous American writer. So Sanctuary, made William William Faulkner famous or infamous as the master of cult of cruelty in American fiction. It is the dark and disturbing story. Of course I would pick this, even in a mystery book. It is the dark and disturbing story of the abduction into the Memphis underworld of Mississippi debutante Temple Drake, who brings with her into that corrupt world her own form of moral corruption, which nearly destroys Horace Benbow, the novel's central main character. Excuse me. While many readers have seen the book only as a brutal assault on the sensibilities, most now agree that it is at the same time a very sophisticated blend of Eliot, Freud, mythology, local color, and even current trends in hard-boiled detective fiction. Published in 1931, Sanctuary may well be Faulkner's most powerful examination of the nature of evil. It is unquestionably one of the most important works. So, found a classic. Do a slow roll. And Amanda has some prompts in here. It said, rewrite this book in every way. Physically highlight your favorite words and sentences throughout this book. Pick a random page, interpret that page with collage. Redesign the cover of this book. Reorder the pages. Write a letter to the author of this book as if they were a long lost friend. I'll be like, boy, it sounds like I need to write a letter saying you're disturbed. You see the therapist, the way they said this book was going to read. Faulkner. So, another classic going into the TBR pile. All right, everyone. So that wraps up tonight's show. Tonight, let me put all this back. So again, just want to give a shout out to my partners at bemorenews.com. Make sure you guys go over to bemorenews.com and sign up for the newsletter. You can head over to booksandbounty.com. Make sure you subscribe to my blog where you'll be able to get book reviews, recaps of the shows, upcoming information and announcements, learn about new giveaways and things. So booksandbounty.com. You can also learn about editorial production and content development services, where we tell the stories for self-publishing authors, nonprofits, and small content management teams. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure tonight chatting with you guys online, talking with Jaleesa Whitley of Book Trips, as well as going through some of my book haul from the weekend. We took a look at my first deep dive into a graphic novel with Infinitum with Tim Fielder. Tim Fielder will be in the building next Tuesday night. So make sure you like, share, subscribe. Until next time, everyone, thank you so much for turning the page with Books and Bounty TV. I'm your host, Stephanie Henderson, live every Tuesday night from the Books and Bounty TV She Suite. Happy reading and see you guys next Tuesday.